Hey folks, how's it going? Today I'm really excited. We're going to do a quick overview of Prot Warrior. There's quite a few changes to the number of abilities that Warrior has, but overall thematically they're going to continue to produce an incredibly high amount of damage. There's some slight adjustments here. Certainly the AoE target limitations are one component there. Um, but overall, like Warrior's continuing to be a pretty stable tank, and among the absolute best um, sheer-fired DPS producers. So looking forward to that, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So what we'll do today, we're going to touch quickly on two builds. One kind of like the standard offensive build, and then the second will be more of like the defensive, whether that's for either your mythic or raiding approaches. So, starting off, this is actually the standard offensive build. So tier 1, go with Devastator. I know it's a bit of an adjustment to take essentially your auto attack and take that away, but that's one less button you need to be worrying about. So set yourself up for success with Devastator. Tier 2, you can go with double time. Alternatively, if you are looking for the stun, like go with Stormbolt, but being able to cover a fair bit of ground actually kind of goes hand in hand really well because we've got Intervene in our kit now, and Intervene's now on the kit for all warrior specs, in addition to the multiple charges that we have available to us. Tier 3, pretty straightforward. It's actually Booming Voice, almost hands down. Getting that extra 40 rage and increasing the damage you do buffs you up. Can't beat that as far as this tier goes. Tier 4, go with Crackling Thunder. Just makes a big difference in terms of your area of effect damage for Thunderclap. Tier 5, I'm going to recommend you go with Indomitable. Having your max health buffed by 10% makes a big difference. We still don't have a tremendous amount of magic mitigation, but this will make a pretty significant difference. Impending Victory, you can hold on to that. That's what that ends up being, is just like a 30% one-time heal, effectively, on a 30-second cooldown. So not terrible, but not your top build if you're trying to maintain some DPS numbers. Tier 6, go with Unstoppable Force. So when you do actually utilize Avatar, that increases the damage of Thunderclap by 30%, so that complements taking Crackling Thunder 2 tiers before. And then finally, Anger Management. I know we kind of mentioned, like it is seeing a little bit of a nerf there, but ultimately, as far as trying to maximize your offense, going with Anger Management is actually more impactful than Heavy Repercussions or Bolster. So pretty cool there. It's a neat way to roll. The big things you want to keep an eye open for. You've got improved mobility in terms of having that second charge due to double time, so take advantage of that. So either take advantage of having your stun or the extra mobility. Remember, Demoralizing Shout doesn't actually interact with Anger Management anymore. And we'll just have to see what that actually specs out at. You could actually see Booming Voice potentially get replaced by Dragon Roar. We'll just have to see how things go as we build ourselves through the pre-patch and into the Shadowlands expansion. One that you want to keep an eye open for, it's actually just tied to our Menace ability. It's actually been redesigned, so it's kind of like a mix between a Fear and Intimidating Shout. So it provides a 20-yard knockback that scatters enemies and locks enemies in place where they land. Major DPS loss as far as AoE goes. So it's okay as far as like a potential stun, but it certainly is going to cost you a fair bit of damage entirely. That's kind of the basis of the offensive build. Now, if you're looking at pushing some higher end talent or keys, um, even higher end Nyalotha, if you're potentially pushing mythics, go with the more defensive build. So that means continue with Devastator, go with Stormbolt. That just allows you to improve your control. Instead of Booming Voice, Dragon Roar, kind of like what we just mentioned, it just provides you with a bigger burst of AoE damage. So it's absolutely substantial when you do get your Dragon Roar to crit. You'll see a big burn on all the bosses around you. So keep that in mind. Alternatively, you can run Booming Voice. Like, that's perfectly fine. But it's going to cost you some throughput. Next tier, yeah, Crackling Thunder, no change. Indomitable, again, no massive change there entirely. Tier 6, instead of going with Unstoppable Force and kind of having your Thunderclap buffed, you can go with Ravager, and that's a little bit of fun. Let's see if we can pull it up. And that just kind of throws the spitting weapon on the ground and provides a bit of an AoE damage attack. So not too bad. It is helpful to generate rage, but it takes up to 12 seconds. So it'll slowly impact them. What's actually fun is that this will truly follow your enemies now. So if you're set yourself up well, you should be actually at a point where you're able to snare from a variety of the options that we have available, whether it's hamstring. Combine that with Ravager, and you'll slowly be able to knock off and kite pretty large groups without running into a lot of trouble. And then finally, tier 7 is going to be Bolster. So Bolster, like, provides 0 damage. Your throughput not materially impacted, but it does improve your downtime on last stand by 1 minute, and it gives you shield block for the full duration of the activity. So it's a pretty substantial boost in terms of the ability that we have. It's pretty simple, it's pretty forgiving, but it's an easy way to roll. Alternatively, if you don't want to go with Bolster and just reducing or making a cooldown more available isn't that attractive to you, you can go with Heavy Repercussions there in the middle. It's, again, pretty passive, relies on Shield Slam to generate some rage for you, and extend the duration of shield block. So yeah, like a pretty easy, simple, straightforward ability. If I was completely new to Warrior, probably Heavy Repercussions or Anger Management would be where I would try to spend most of my time and go with a bit more of a passive approach. I think recognizing the number of new abilities, the importance of like managing your spell reflection, managing a few other elements that are in our kit this year. I really like the Shattering Throw ability, being able to throw your weapon at the enemy, removing any magical immunities, dealing up to 500 increased damage to absorb shields. I can't wait to find my first Prot pal and pop that bubble. Can't wait. There's lots of fun things in the Warrior kit. As far as the Warrior specs go, I think they're all pretty viable. I'm going to probably have some fun here with my Prot Warrior. It was one of my go-tos in BFA, and hopefully we'll be able to continue to have some fun with it going in through the pre-patch. All right, folks, that's kind of the really quick talent overview. Let me know in the comments, what do you like? What do you think is different with Warrior in BFA or in pre-patch compared to BFA? What do you think of the new abilities or the AoE talent cap that we have? What are your feelings on losing corruption, but having the conduits and legendary systems just kind of dwindling over our horizon here in front of us? There's a lot of things kind of changing. And the borrowed power system is here to stay by the looks of things. So let me know your thoughts. Let me know what race you're playing for your warrior this year, and if you're going to play anything but Prot. All right, thanks for watching, folks. I will talk to you soon. See ya.